Hello, everyone. We are the amino acid group, and my name is Brandy, and I will start with the introduction. Amino acids are monomers that are building blocks for peptides and proteins. They are the basis for all metabolic processes in the body. By forming peptide chains, amino acids are able to create proteins that are vital to the body's function. Each amino acid is unique and has a unique side carbon chain group that gives them specific functions. Amino acids can be acidic or basic, polar or nonpolar, positively charged or negatively charged. Amino acids are important in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, hormones, and enzymes.
There is some history behind the founding of amino acids. Some scientists believe that life on Earth began after meteorites brought water and organic amino acids that allowed life to originate. Now, in 1971, data collected from the properties of a meteorite showed that the amino acid glycine was present in it. And in fact, over 80 plus unique amino acids have been identified on meteorites. Ever since these discoveries, it is evident that the amino acid reside in outer space as well as on Earth. Now, in terms of the structure of the amino acid itself, it includes an amino acid group, a carboxyl group, and an R group. When we talk about the R group could be a side chain of any kind or an aromatic compound, as many amino acids have either one.
Okay, so peptide bonding. So proteins are synthesized through peptide bonds, and peptide bonds are formed between two amino acids. So on this group, there is the carboxyl, and then on this group, this is the amino group. So what happens is these two groups get closer together, and then through a dehydration synthesis, where a molecule of water leaves, a new amide bond is formed between this carbon and this nitrogen. And as you can see, there is an amino group and a carboxyl group. So this is how long chains of amino acids can be formed into peptides. And then those peptides can then create proteins. So proteolytic cleavage is then used to selectively cleave any unreactive or misfolded peptides before they get transcribed into proteins. And this is to make sure that any errors in the proteins don't end up being shown in any DNA or RNA. And then in the laboratory, the Strecker synthesis mechanism can be used to first make alpha aminonitriles, which is an intermediate, to then be hydrolyzed, which is basically breaking it down with water, which can then create amino acids. So there are two main types of amino acids. There is essential, and then there's non-essential. And essential amino acids are ones that the body cannot produce on its own. So in order to get these, you need to consume them via your diet. So most of these amino acids are contained in foods that are high in protein. So you have meats, proteins, dairy, eggs, and then if you want plant-based, you have beans and like soy products. And these amino acids are key to intake because they help with the formation of proteins that can help rebuild, repair muscle tissues. And then they can also strengthen the immune system so people don't get as sick as often.
A variety of diseases that are caused by amino acid deficiencies. Most of these deficiency diseases are inherited in an autosomal recessive pattern where they cannot produce amino acids or lack vital enzymes. These illnesses are commonly found in infants when humans experience the most growth in the short period of time. Homocystinuria is when the body cannot process the amino acid homocysteine. Maple syrup urine disease is when the body cannot process breaking down major building blocks of amino acids. Tyrosinemia is when the body does not obtain the enzyme fumarylate hydrolase that metabolizes tyrosine. And phenylketonuria is caused by increased levels of the amino acid phenylalanine.
MSG has a variety of different names, many that you have seen while glancing at the ingredients or maybe have not seen at all. A few of these aliases are glutamic acid, sodium glutamate monohydrate, monosodium salt, and most commonly known, monosodium glutamate. The MSG is responsible for maintaining the formation and elimination of synapses. They transfer signals from neurons to neurons. Because of this, it is very important to have the correct concentration in your system, or it can become risky due to the toxicity. Glutamate is known as the excitatory neurotransmitter, which means that it helps the brain function by being the mediator for cell signals and to allow it to reach its electric threshold and undergo action potential. Monosodium glutamate is in everything we eat. It's what adds flavor to all of our food. Even though MSG itself does not have a specific taste, it engages the receptors on your tongue that trigger the gustatory cortex. As seen in the picture, MSG comes in a white crystal form, similar to salt or sugar. The average intake for MSG in the US and the UK is about 0.55 to 0.58 grams, and in Japan and Korea, it is roughly 1.2 to 1.7 grams. Seeing the increase in Japan and Korea can lead us into how MSG is highly used in Asian dishes. Have you ever gone to a Chinese restaurant eating a ton of food, and then when you left, you felt bloated, full, tired, maybe even have a headache? This is because a lot of Chinese restaurants use large amounts of MSG in their food. This is why one of the diagnoses is called Chinese restaurant syndrome, CRS for short. The other concern people have with MSG is that it's thought to be linked to obesity, reproductive, and metabolic problems. There is really no evidence proving that there's a link between MSG and people's health, but many people claim that due to large consumption, it gives them flushing, sweating, facial pressure or tightness, numbness, tingling or burning in the face or neck, rapid fluttering heartbeats, chest pain, nausea, and weakness. As many things, large consumption can be a bad thing, but if you watch how much you take in, you'll be just fine.
As you can see here, deficiency in amino acids can lead to deficiency in serotonin. Serotonin is a hormone in our body which stabilizes our mood, helps with our feelings of well-being and happiness. These amino acid deficiencies can be supplemented by dietary intake, and if not supplemented, can lead to severe psychological effects like increased stress, anxiety, and depressive disorders, such as depression stated here. Serotonin also acts as a neurotransmitter. If serotonin is missing, again, it's just going to cause many problems to the body and severely affect the body's function. There are prescription drugs, however, that can help alleviate these issues that are caused by these deficiencies. The most well-known drug are antibiotics, and they are known for targeting selective serotonin reuptake receptors. The issue is that these prescription drugs only mask the issues. However, there are other drugs which help the issue by increasing serotonin level. These supplements are made by taking the amino acid tryptophan and synthesizing it to make serotonin. This has been shown to slightly help. However, if you want like a more natural way of increasing your tryptophan levels, you can just eat foods such as eggs, cheese, pineapples, and salmon. The next slide is on unnatural amino acids, which are those which do not appear in a natural polypeptide chain. These are produced by chemists with the help of our recent advances in technology and have shown to have longer-lasting effects on drugs and humans. There was human clinical trials proven to have long-lasting effects on diseases such as multiple sclerosis and growth hormone deficiency. Genetically unnatural amino acids facilitate the conjugation of molecules, oligonucleotides, and synthetic polymers. The facilitation and conjugation from unnatural amino acids can be applied to protein therapeutics in both pharmaceutical and physical settings. Additional therapeutics may chemically engineer a defined macromolecule.
The increase of amino acids in the body has been recently connected with the presence of cancer cells. Cancer cells have been observed to be dependent on glutamate, glycine, and cysteine. Polyamines especially have been seen to encourage tumor growth and the aggressiveness of it. The way this was observed was through redox balances energetic regulation, biosynthetic support, and homeostatic maintenance. That is all for this presentation. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great rest of your day.